My hope and goal is that you walk into your first or next home closing extremely confident. It wouldn't be uncommon, especially for first time buyers, to be afraid of making mistakes or be concerned that the agent they're working with isn't looking out for their best interests. So, in order to head that off at the pass, we're going to look at 10 questions that you can ask a buyer's agent to make sure you're working with the right person. Now, we're going to use the consumer guide, 10 questions to ask a buyer's agent. And this is from the National Association of Realtors. And with any types of information you're looking at, you'll always want to consider the source. And I'll show you more about what I mean as we get to some of the questions. And I'm also, because I am an agent and have been for the past 15 years, I'm going to go ahead and provide you my answers. So at a minimum, you'll have something to compare if you're working with another agent. Question number 1, are you a realtor? In their guide, they explain how realtors are professionals that have ethical duties. My answer, yes, I am a realtor. I do prescribe to their code of ethics, and that is considered a higher standard. And one thing I will say positive about National Association of Realtors is that before they really came along, if you look at the history of brokerage, it was really kind of like the Wild West. And so them coming into real estate brokerage and putting some guardrails up has been a positive thing for the industry as a whole. Now, that being said, this is the first time where I want you to kind of stop and think, well, consider the source. The question being, are you a realtor? And it comes from the National Association of Realtors. Might be a benefit for them asking that question, right? Now, I do tend to see as a majority of agents that I work with, they are realtors as well. But what I want you to hear is if you've got a family member, say a trusted aunt who's been in the industry for decades and you trust her as much as you would anyone else and look out for your best interests, and she happens to not be a realtor, it's not necessarily a reason not to use your trusted aunt. Question number 2, what types of services can you provide me? And in the consumer guide, the National Association of Realtors outlines some different activities that a buyer's agent might conduct. For me, I am a full-time, full-service agent. I work with both buyers and sellers. For buyers specifically, it really all starts with a buyer consultation, and we follow the process through assisting, consulting, and coaching you through the entire closing process. But we would start with a buyer consult, including a needs analysis. We would go through the search phase, helping you to find the home that's right for you. We also use different strategies to kind of help you narrow down and make sure you're choosing the right home for you. Services are likely going to include help with negotiations, market analysis, and then, like I said, really consulting you through the entire process. Question number 3, how well do you know the markets where I am searching for a home? And the National Association of Realtors Consumer Guide kind of highlights, hey, listen, your agent should be familiar with your area, and they should, of course, be licensed in the state that you're working. So for me, I am licensed in Texas, and I live in Rockwall, and so I live and work in the North Texas area, kind of Northeast Texas area, if you will. I have previously been licensed in both Georgia, the state of Georgia, and the state of Louisiana, and I ultimately decided to let those licenses go because I'm not really going to be able to do a good job servicing clients in that particular area personally. However, I still have people who contact me, and I can kind of get them started and help them get connected with an agent that's a good fit for them. I've done numerous relocations, meaning my prior career was in the Coast Guard, and we moved quite a bit for that, as you would expect the military to do. And with that, we've learned a lot about relocation and have built strong networks across multiple states. So happy to help if you're not moving to Texas, but need a recommendation. We might be able to help you out there as well. All right, question number 4. Do you have experience working with buyers in my situation? You don't really say what situation, right? But their point here is that many agents specialize in working with certain types of buyers, maybe a first-time buyer or working with veterans. They also talk a little bit about designations in their consumer guide. For me, so my answer is I've got a pretty broad spectrum. Like I said, I work with both buyers and sellers after 15 years, and I really have worked a lot, though, and enjoy working with first-time buyers. With my military background, I love helping out veterans, and we've done also a lot of new construction. And so those are some areas where we have kind of really thrived and enjoy helping people out. However, chances are, if you're buying, we can help you out. As far as designations go, we haven't spent a lot of time getting additional certificates or designations. A lot of times there's a fee to keep that designation up. And I'm not saying that the information you get doing those designations isn't valuable. However, we just haven't chosen to go that route. In lieu of that, I do hold my broker's license. And when you look at sales agents and brokers, a broker's license is a higher level, more stringent license. And so I've chosen to kind of go the route of getting my broker's license in lieu of some designations. However, having those designations when you're talking to other agents could be valuable. All right, question number 5. Can you tell me about your approach to scouting properties? And so I'll just tell you right now, I found this wording of this question a little confusing. So if you're asking this to another agent and they're not exactly sure what you're talking about, you might need to give them a little bit of clarification of what kind of answer you're looking for. In the guide, they kind of talk about, different business models and use of different tools and technology. And so for me, I use the multiple listing service, which a lot of realtors use and search for property. But we're also going to be talking to clients. And if we have a property come up that meets your needs, then you're going to find out about that. Because sometimes in some markets, we kind of proactively go looking for what you need. And we're also going to look at homes that are already for sale by owners. So they may not be actively listed on the MLS, but we can still represent you and help you with those. Occasionally in my office, we will have listings where the seller is not quite ready to go on the market. So these would be off-market properties that are available within our brokerage. And we would check those out to see if anything fits your criteria. In general, what I think it's really about is finding the right house for you and then kind of consulting you through that process. Once we're looking at homes, we like to get feedback and then go into kind of fine-tuning a search. All right, now for the bonus AI question. And what AI came up with was, what are the hidden costs of home ownership? And so I can tell you that this can really change by the area. Like I said, I've done a lot of relocations. And when we moved to Seattle, we didn't really notice anything different. However, one thing we did notice is when we went to sell, we ended up having to pay a fee back to, I think it was the county, for the privilege of selling our house. Now, by that time, we had bought at least 4 homes, and as both investments and as personal residents in multiple states, and had never seen that before. So in Texas, if you were to move here from a state that had state income tax, because Texas doesn't have a state income tax, you might find our property taxes are pretty high. And we did a whole video on that we'll link here. Also, there's things like homeowners association fees and maintenance. And we've put all that in our video, what it really costs, your quote, need to know, that you can watch here. Don't forget to look out for part 2 of 10 questions.